They flash the lights, so they should be...
Should we go get Roma? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
They're ready for
Ready
you.
to roll. All right. You going? Yeah, let's roll, man. How's everybody doing? Sweet. Thank you all so much for coming out. Tonight you're going to hear a mixture of spoken word poetry with music, and then some traditional poetry recited with some music in the background. I wanted to kick off this performance with a special poem. On March 13th, my abuela passed away, unfortunately. She lived an amazing life. She was an amazing woman. And her journey ended in Puerto Rico, where my dad was raised and whatnot. And so I wanted to read this poem called Lucila, which is my grandmother's name. And we'll start off with this. Yeah, Lucila. Lucila, mi abuela. Says I love you in a throaty voice, aged from cigars and sea salt. Mi amor, she calls me. But my love gets lost in head nods and hugs, a tongue unlearned to the tip of my lips. When in a room where the silence is stale and stings, I turn on the television, Univision, hoping that the actors speak what I'm thinking, telling my abuela that I love her, that I miss her. You have things that you want to achieve, dreams that you want to see come to fruition. There's no better time than now to make them happen. Never later, always now. I sleep, I wake, I seek sonic landscapes. Try my damnedest to dream in the day, 'cause why should the night be the only one to cradle the beauty in my head? Sleep, dream, wake, dream. I drive across the sky, leaving tire tread clouds, tracking where I've been and where I'm going to be, transcending the radio static in my head, amending self-directed put-downs to initiate the launch sequence that is my desire to create change the paradigm. But first, I gotta open my mind's eye, quiet the bass bumping in my chest, put my nebulaic navigator in park, and partake in the communion of cosmic transmission. I see. Mother Mary comes to me speaking numerology. The big hand and the little hand interlock their fingers at 11:11 and I'm checked in. Shift to drive and I'm dark matter. You can't detect me as I am, have been, and always will be. I will not be driven from this space. I am part of it. Instead, I'll give it new life, for I am a creator. And Mother Earth just gave me carte blanche. I'll feng shui landscapes, make mountains mediums, conjure messages for current inhabitants in Morse code relayed via the stippling of my pen, the rhythm of my voice, the tapping of the woodpecker, the percussive pitter-patter of rain, the jointed inhalation of lover's breath, the final exhalation of death, reminding me, reminding us Never later, always now. Never later, always now. Never later, always now. I've spent too many years living in fear, afraid of my own shadow. The obscure obsidian shape attached to my heels the day I was born, ignored as I grew. It followed me everywhere, and I tried to outrun it, try to change it, fit it into a box, and forget about it. A people pleaser, passively passing opportunities of growth and opting for affectatious interests, trends, and thoughts. Plagiarizing people, a body snatcher, a forced facsimile. But now, I'm free. 270 pounds of change. 270 pounds of I don't care about preconceived notions. Cause Rumi said I'm the entire ocean in a single drop, dripping down my head while my voice is clipping the mic. My words, my world scrawled and scratched, my thoughts loose and free, no longer atrophy in the attic of my mind, choking themselves out on the fumes of their own decaying corpses. Now I'm free. I'm free. I'm the love child of Kuga and Cash, crashing the party like a Joe Jones drum solo. Flim-flamming beats bleed in the Beethoven 7th, second movement, conjuring the cojones required to say what I need to say. I'm free. I'm free. I'm free. Thank you. So, yeah, a little context. We're gonna do a little storyteller mode here with some of this stuff. We've got some time, right? This is a new thing for me. I've loved poetry, and I've read poetry at bars and open mics and stuff like that, and bookstores, but I've never performed it with music. What's cool is that these poems, I've written over the years, but now they're kind of they've got like a new life to them, which is really exciting and fun. Never Later, Always Now is one that I wrote recently. The whole idea is we sometimes feel like we're just slaves to the clock. It's just like day in, day out. You clock in, you clock out. That's it. I don't know. My little motto that I've adopted over the years is how about a little less, maybe later, and a little more, why not now? And so I think it's important to carve time out of the day for you. And like I said, if there's dreams and things that you want to achieve, now is the time to do it. We're never guaranteed the next day, and so never later, always now. Let's make it happen now. Thank you. I'm Free was the one that you just heard. And yeah, I think, one thing a lot of people can kind of identify with is just trying to, we're all here trying to figure out ourselves, figure out where we belong in the scheme of things. Being held back and kind of barred up by expectations, just societal roles and whatnot. And so that was one for me where, again, just kind of getting rid of the things that I feel like have maybe held me back. A lot of these poems, well, not a lot, but a handful you'll hear tonight are about identity, kind of figuring out who you are. For me, that journey has been really focused on race. I'm a mixed race individual, and we definitely live in a world where things are compartmentalized. We like to categorize things, and that sometimes can cause divisiveness. And so what happens when you're not just in one box, but you've got one foot in one and one foot in the other? So you'll hear a little bit about that tonight. This next one is a traditional poem. This one's called Saudade, which is a Portuguese word. They have their own word for this. It means the feelings of nostalgia and the kind of sadness that comes with missing things of the past, which I don't know about you, I'm a millennial, so I've been seeing a lot of things like the early 90s were so great, Saudade. And I'm just like, yes, they were, sad, just crying away. And so this is a poem that I wrote after I took a workshop with the incredibly talented Rachel Wiley. It's a Golden Shovel poem, which is, it involves a Gwendolyn Brooks poem. It's kind of a cool thing where the last word of each line is a Gwendolyn Brooks poem. So this one's called Saudade. Waiting to wrap its blue tendrils around my heart, Mr. Post-Party Melancholy is the first to arrive and last to leave. Be it trip, gathering, benevolent blip of camaraderie, there is no defense. Forget the invitation. He knows where the back door is and lets himself in every time. The bliss burglar, the constant nagging reminder that this provisional present becomes past tense the very second it comes and goes, like the flickering glow of the little firefly, here, then gone, then hurts. It, you, we, me are fleeting, destined now to become slides that reside in mind projectors of those who know, knew, feel, felt us, you, I, forget. Because the bulb fades over time and shall always cast that manufactured haze over those moments, frozen, not the defined, sharp reality we experienced then, let go and watched float away, situating itself high and out of reach like cathedral spires. Our yearning for those moments inspires us to go hunting, become Polaroid poachers, trying to bag and tag that bygone phenomenon camouflaged in the shady parts of our brains. The rich crimson blood you saw spill from that bull in Spain no longer belongs to you, nor do the snow-dusted sculptures of Oslo belong to me, because time always comes cherrying, plucking our ripest memories to preserve in jars for itself, leaving us forgotten like Pequaming, Michigan, or empty as Frenchboro, Maine. How many people here have or do work in the food industry? How many of you know what it's like to deal with unruly customers? This one goes out to all of you. I've been there, I feel your pain. This one's called, How Can I Be of Service? Good morning. How can my greeting cut short by your order, cast in crass nets that tangle my sincerity, 'cause you're in a hurry, ain't got time for pleasantries. So you keep your head down and preoccupied with a life that fits in the palm of your hand, ruled by buttons and lights that don't mean a damn thing. I know that you're my senior and I should treat you with respect. Still, a well-respected man does not demand it through sheer neglect. But you see, we're not so different, you and me. Despite this counter that divides the help from seniority. Me? A Generation Y who should have been an X, beleaguered by the gimme now-nows of society's excess. No rest for the single mother who raised me selflessly, giving all she had to give to meet the wants and needs of her baby, who would grow into a man who learned the knowledge means power and knew that 12 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 equals 21 years of knowledge and a pedagogic view that it takes all kinds of people to make this top keep spinning round. You? A baby boomer, born, bred, and raised by a father with a belt and a mother full of grace. Molded from clay mixed with blood, spit, and tears, your calloused, wizened hands are mere badge for all the years white-knuckling it across the bottom of that barrel, working for the man and a little piece of that payroll, slaving days away to make a name. Except the game you now play is the very one that brought you shame. You've been trained to interject, shun the mild, meek, and poor, while you kneel on every Sunday before your gilded, gleaming Lord, with fingers crossed behind your back, eyes impaired by man-made things. You've cut away your soiled roots, a rampant puppet with no strings. I know who I am. I look in the mirror every day, and I know for a fact I'm not a lackey the way your actions say. So take your eyes away from the lights and set your sights right here, big shot. Because if you're lucky, you'll learn. And remember what you forgot. Thank you all so much. This next one here, it's a combination of two poems, essentially. The first one is called Who Am I? And the second one is called In Betweener. Like I said, I'm mixed race. My mom is from northwestern Iowa, and my dad is from the Dominican Republic. So it's like two totally different places, just wow. And so it's always been an interesting experience, like being, and they got divorced when I was 5, so raised by a single mom, and I never felt different, like in the house and with family. But then we'd step outside, and then it became, in certain instances, became very evident. People kind of went out of their way to let me know that there's something weird here. You don't really. How does this add up? Are you adopted? What's going on? It's very interesting. And then as I've gotten older, and we see and hear all these things happening like in our world. Being a person like right in that middle area, that area of gray, I guess you could say. I don't know. It's something that I've wrestled with, just kind of figuring out who am I? How should I feel? Where should I? And I think we all experience that. In one way or the other, we can apply that idea of, who am I at the core, like that age-old question, right? Who am I? I don't know. For me, I know who I am in various aspects of my life, but this one was one that I kind of struggled with, just trying to figure things out and how I should react and relate to certain things. So the idea here was to kind of express that conflict through music and spoken word. So this one's called Who Am I? And In Betweener. Farcical aberrancy of a white man whipping his own back because he called himself learning how to read. Split skin, spilling blood on the seas that'll yield a field of biracial crops. It stops the facsimile in its tracks and hacks up a new breed of self-conflicted identity. Got one finger pulling the trigger and one hand gripping my chest. One moment I'm screaming, I can't breathe. The next moment stop resisting arrest. Testing the waters of this cultural divide. There's me being swallowed by the mudslide. I'm an in-betweener, beleaguered by year-round brown, bound to me at birth. But my worth ain't dictated by your machine gun sentences, sentencing us to social displacement and ripping through tawny flesh like a whip-lashing tongue. I'm a pragmatic pariah, prying the mouth of this thing wide open, sticking my head in, screaming incantations and waiting for the echo of my words. They boomerang, bang around the bias and ricochet through stained glass, shattering technicolor stereotypes. So get hyped and stay hyped, cause this ain't over. I've been denied my stripes because I'm too black and too white for the liking of those frozen in rudimentary forms. But you see, they're scared of me and others like me, cause we mess up the paradigm and clothesline ignorance in a racially fueled game of Red Rover. So come over, and we'll explain our place at the table. A diversified world full of unnecessary labels. This one's called Telephone Pole. I'm a high school English teacher by day. Thanks, yeah. I see I got some students out there and stuff. This is so cool. I try to just get out and take a walk during the day. It's like during my lunch period, I have students who are like, I saw you walking around the school during your lunch break. I'm like, I know. I try to do like a mile during my lunch break. And I teach at Lincoln, and so there's 33rd and yeah, Lincoln, right? The other schools are good too. But I usually go for a walk, and went for a walk one day, and there was a telephone pole that I walked by, and and you'll see in the poem too, there's a missing poster for I believe it was a cat, yeah. And then I noticed some more details around the telephone pole, and was like, there's a poem there. So I got my phone out and quick jotted down a note and let it sit for months and months and months, and then finally got around to writing it. And so this one's called Telephone Pole. And two, a testament that you can find inspiration in, anything. You just gotta, open yourself up to it, I guess. Maybe not necessarily seek it out either. Like sometimes that's when the best stuff comes, is when you're just open and doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. During a walk, I passed a telephone pole on Blauvelt and 33rd, and did a double take when I saw a poster for a missing cat. I read the information and made a mental note to keep my eyes peeled. However, something prevented me from leaving that spot. I noticed the staples, hundreds of tiny metal tombstones pounded into the wood surrounding the poster. I wondered how many had visited this very spot to mourn, to hope. I wondered how many had found what they had lost. I pictured midday visitations, forlorn loved ones checking in on the upkeep of the plot, hoping that passers-by plucked the number-scrawled paper petals from the monument. I wondered if they left this spot as a different person, thinking that the telephone pole wasn't a beacon for the lost, but rather a public ofrenda. This one's called Fool's Gold. They gave us the rule and said it was golden. Minded themselves from the confines of ancient times, when an individual could procure an even playing field for the equal exchange of an eye. Yet, despite decades of developments, millennia of radical movements, and centuries of cognitive come-ups, a lot of us are still out here thinking, gold is good, baby. We've got empirical evidence deconstructing the molecular makeup of this inherited gold, revealing that what we've been dealing is actually pyrite, fool's gold. But forget the facts, right? See, even though gold got us started, it's getting us nowhere now. Because gold is more about you and less about me. How you set a standard, how I'm the anomaly, hobbling around in my crooked ways that need to be made straight. So you can earn your heavenly merit badge for sitting down with a failure and assimilating me to your degree of perfection. Some good deed. This fool's gold got us wearing amber blinders, drenching everyone in a honey-hued Kodachrome, thinking colorblind is fine. This fool's gold got us miming Midas in an egocentric game of Pictionary. This fool's gold messed up our eyesight, got us navigating equity and inclusion with candlelight, blown out by sighs, exhaled on the heels of microaggressions. This fool's gold got us thinking pronouns pack a bigger punch than pistols. This whole time, gold's been the magician, misdirecting our eyes and misplacing the value that resides in each of us. It's elusive, unfelt, yet yearned for and idolized, because we've been taught rarity equates worthiness. But I wonder how different things would be had they given us the rule and called it carbon, versatile, flexible, easily bonded with variations, the snap bracelet of elements, seemingly stiff and stubborn, but willing to bend and bow as a courtesy, coiling around each passerby in a secure hug, then easily snapping back to its regular form after a salutation. Carbon is, hey, can you help me pronounce your name? I want to say it correctly because it's important. Carbon is, I've never heard that before, tell me more. Carbon is, you know, that's not really my jam, but I can understand why you and so many others dig it. Carbon is being corrected on someone's pronouns and responding with, damn, my sincerest apologies. I'll lock that in my vault so I remember it the next time, and the next time, and the next time. Carbon is flexing with the times and doing better because now we know better. Carbon is obliging, affable, universal, willing to put you first because it knows that you matter and knows that if you do the same, we'll all be taken care of. So that one, yeah, was a play on the golden rule. You know, treat others how you want to be treated. And you know, the new turn of phrase is, well, how about, you know, maybe treating others how they want to be treated? Because how you want to be treated might be different. I don't know. Something to think about. I want to take a moment here to introduce and thank these incredibly talented musicians who are on stage with me right now. Over here on guitar is Mark Romanowski, local legend. On drums behind me is Mr. Dreamy Eyes himself, Tory Stolen. Slinging the low end over here is Andrew Reinartz. Yeah, in the bass fort. And over on the turntables, my homie, JFlea. Yes, Jeff Gimenez. Awesome dude. Again, this was something that it's an honor to be able to be on this stage. I had the fortunate experience and opportunity to perform up here with Joel Shotwell and Mark Romanowski for their album release party. And while I was up here and just watching what was all going down, I was like, I want to do that too. I want to do that someday. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, the Washington Pavilion, like, we're doing this live and local thing. You should apply for it, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, they didn't tell me I should apply for it. That was like friends and stuff telling me, friends and family, you should do this. I'm like, okay. And so I was like, cool. And so I'm filling out the application, and it's like, you know, what would your show be? I'm like, poetry. I'm like, but people aren't gonna want to just, you know, me up here being like, I saw a flower and it made me cry. People don't want that. So I was like, poetry with music. And then I was like, well, what did Mark and Joel do? And they had videos and lights and the whole thing. And then I got the okay. They're like, you're on for the series. I was like, okay. Now I gotta make this happen. All right, sweet. But right from the get-go, I knew who I wanted to work with, and I was hoping that they'd be available and up for the experience, because it was, again, like I said, I've read poetry before, but I've never done anything like this. And I reached out to all these guys, and super fortunate for their friendships, because immediately every single one of them was like, yes, 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 this is awesome, let's do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, cool. I kind of felt like, I know, it's like, this is gonna date me, but again, like the 90s, dream team, man. Like, I was like, everyone said yes, and I was like, I got Patrick Ewing, I got Charles Barkley, I got all the people, Michael Jordan, yes. So that was like so thrilling. But the other thing too is that I knew that I needed individuals who were seasoned veterans. And because we're all busy, and so I just, it's like we want to kind of hit the ground running. And sure enough, I mean, everything came together, it coalesced, and this is what we have. So I know, it says Xavier Pastrano on the poetry and stuff, and I wrote the words and helped out with some of the music and stuff. But this is just as much as their project as it is mine, because what you're seeing here is a collaboration, and I think there's a lot of that happening here in Sioux Falls, and so I think it's important for us to encourage that. So let's keep rolling with that. With that being said, I got a couple thanks I want to give out. I want to say thank you to the Washington Pavilion. Speaking of giving opportunities for artists to collaborate and express themselves and showcase what Sioux Falls has to offer for talent. Because we know there's tons of talent nationwide, but it's awesome to be able to have opportunities to see what local talent we have here. So thank you to Carrie DeGraff, Bob Wedland, the Washington Pavilion staff for, again, doing this live and local series. The Pavilion, I feel like, is a staple of Sioux Falls, and a lot of artists, want to perform on stages like this here, and so to be given this opportunity is amazing. So thank you so much to the Washington Pavilion. Thank you to, I have to do this one. Thank you to the Internet Archive and Prelinger Archive for providing me with public domain footage to use for the stuff. Because I was like, okay, I'm playing this in front of people. Like, this is public domain. Like, okay, what are the conditions? And they're like, you just need to say our names. I'm like, okay, cool, I can do that. So Internet Archive, thank you. Prelinger Archive, thank you. Huge thank you to Jacob Forstein, Will, and Scott. This tech team has been amazing. Thank you so much for making us look great, sound great. We appreciate it. Yes, thank you to Jacob Vande and his partner Biz, for filming the event tonight. We're making like a little concert movie tonight, so this is fantastic. So thank you so much for that. I want to thank my wife and my son, Suzanne and Rowan. Thank you for sharing your time. I know it's another thing for those of you who are like married or in relationships with artists and stuff. It's like, they've got that relationship, but then it's also like they have the music and they have the art, and sometimes it's hard to share that time. But been super supported by both of them, and very thankful for that. And lastly, I'm a mama's boy, so shout out to my mom, who, for those of you who know Judith, I wouldn't be up on the stage doing this right now had it not been for her encouragement over the years. She was one of those moms where I am writing super cringeworthy acoustic songs, like high school, and she's like, they're good, we're gonna put them on a CD. I'm like, how? She's like, we're gonna go to Prairie Dog Studio, I'm gonna pay for studio time. I'm like, okay. I was like, cool, all right. And so now I've got this great catalog of embarrassing songs that I can, share. But no, most importantly, again, like, she nurtured the creativity that she saw. She saw something. She saw talent. She saw potential. She saw me doing something that I loved and was passionate about, and she wholeheartedly supported that. So. And I speak to myself too as a parent, but any of you out there who have, even like if you're not a parent, friends, family, but if you do have kids and they are expressing interest in any kind of art, just pour water on that and just let it grow. Just, embrace that. Let them do that. Let them express themselves. So. This last poem, performance, is a poem called Hey Kid. This comes from a book that I wrote that was inspired by and written for my students. I think it was the class of 20, I think, is that, do I see a student there? No, I see some. Was it? I think it's in the book. I'm old now and I'm forgetting things. Class of 2022, yeah. I had them as freshmen. So it was a collection of poems that I wrote, I gave them like an optional and anonymous survey. What are some things that you wish adults knew about teenagers? What are some things that you're going through that you'd like to read about in poetry? I took the responses, turned them into prompts, wrote a book of poetry for them, also for everybody. But this is the titular poem. This one is called Hey Kid. Hey kid, you don't need a lecture about the real world because your reality is high-def stress and anxiety with surround sound self-loathing. You spend days in overcrowded hallways, swimming upstream and hoping you don't jump into the mouth of the bear that's waiting to hang a fang into your hide. Hey kid, don't feel obligated to be a facsimile. A copy of 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 a copy caught between two worlds. Because living life vicariously through snaps and likes is like being blindfolded in a burning building and screaming, everything is fine. Hey kid, what's it like after school when you dust off your bullet-riddled body, dig out insults and slurs like slugs, and salve your wounds with pings and pills? Some say you're too distracted, but it's hard to sit still when there's a target pinned to your back. Hey kid, don't be suckered into being a statistic, a blip on a grid. The soothsayers in white coats tell you you're predestined to follow the course of that zigzagging red line, confined to a hole they built with numbers and codes, but you don't owe them anything. So don't be afraid to hijack the reins and steal yourself right off the grid into the oblivion that you created for yourself. For yourself. Hey kid, don't let any adult tell you that they have all the answers. Because half the time, even the most put together adults don't even know what the hell they're doing, where they're going, or who they are. The only real difference between us is years of experience, and even then, you sometimes got more on me than I on you. So let's share and listen and educate each other in the universal school of life. Hey kid, do you see your self-worth? Because if you don't, I wish you did. I can build you up during your 7-hour stay, but at the end of the school day, what happens in your home and what's said in your head can outweigh the pounds of praise that I pour onto your scale. So, here are some words they can't strip away, to hold in the folds of your mind for a day when the burdens you carry make you hobble and sway, and you don't think you'll see the light of tomorrow. We are products of chaos and ineffable beauty, of thundering waves, of rustling leaves, like you. They are necessities that change the world, like you. They have purpose and a reason to be. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. It means the world. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. Again, continue to support the local arts. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Yeah, support the arts, enjoy the arts. That's important too. I'll be out in the lobby. I brought some books, some poetry books and stuff like that, and so I'd love just to talk and chill and hang out and hear what you thought. So thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it.